What is up, everyone? This is Jojo the Techie, and I've had the Unihertz Titan 2 Elite for about a week now. During that time, I've been putting it through its paces, and along the way, I've discovered a bunch of things that made a real difference in how this phone feels to use. And some of them I figured out on my own, while some of them came from you guys in the comments on my last video. So, what I did is I put together this list for two reasons. First, for those of you who are just getting this device when it starts to ship in June and don't know where to start, this is your setup guide. So do these things before anything else to make the setup a lot easier. And second, for those of you who are still on the fence about whether to buy it. So stick around because some of what I'm about to show you might just make your decision for you. So these are the first 10 things to do with the Unihertz Titan 2 Elite. All right, first thing, and I mean literally the first thing to do is to go into your display settings and change the refresh rate. So out of the box, this phone defaults to 60 Hertz, but we don't want that. This phone is an AMOLED display with a 120 Hertz panel, so 60 Hertz looks noticeably less smooth than it should. So what we do is we go to settings, display, and then we go to refresh rate. And then you have different options here. You have 60, 90, 120, and auto select. I had auto first, which adjusts based on what you're doing, but then I landed on 90 Hertz and I've kept it there. It's a great balance between smoothness and battery life, in my opinion. Now the keyboard backlight. This one frustrated me early on, and I know that from the comments that I saw in my last video, it's frustrated a lot of you who had the same issue with the Titan 2. So out of the box, the automatic backlight setting turns the keyboard light off way too aggressively. And when it goes dark, I thought that you had to press a physical key in order to wake it up, which means that you might accidentally send something or trigger an action that you didn't want. So here's what you need to do. Go to settings, display, keyboard backlight. So this setting right here where it says automatic keyboard light, that should be off. Keyboard backlight duration, you want to make sure that it's set to same as screen timeout. And the screen brightness, I have it cranked all the way up. This is totally up to you how you want it. So here's the second part to this tip that I learned from your comments. If the backlight does go out, don't press a key. Just swipe left or right across the keyboard surface and it will light right back up without pressing anything. On the side of the phone, you have a programmable key. And by default, it doesn't do much. But this is actually one of the most useful customization options on the whole device. So to give it a function, you're basically going to go to settings, shortcut keys, and it shows you a little picture here of the phone and the keys that you're customizing. So in this case, the key that you want to customize is this one, the function key. So in there, you're going to see all the options available for both short press and long press. So I go into the shortcut settings, and right now I have it set to short press Claude, long press take a screenshot, and double press to open my flashlight. But there's many other options. So you can either set it to do any of these things that you see here, like take a screenshot, start a recording, a screen recording, phone call recording, mini mode, or you can make it your back key, your home key, your recent key. And you can also set it up to open a specific app, which is what I have done in this case. There's really no wrong answer here. It's just about making the phone work for you. So set it up as you like. Speaking of shortcuts, if you go to settings, gestures, select double press power button, I have this set up to right now to open the camera. On a phone like this, where getting to the camera isn't as fast as on a typical slot phone, having a double press shortcut means that you can get a picture quickly without hunting through your apps. It's a small thing, but it can make a big difference in the moment. Now this next one is off by default and it really shouldn't be. So again, we go to settings, gestures, keyboard gestures, scroll assistant, and make sure that it's on. It's off by default for some reason, so make sure you turn that on. What it does is it lets you swipe on the physical keyboard surface to scroll up and down on the screen, like a trackpad. Once you get used to this, it's one of the most natural ways to interact with the phone. You're already resting your fingers on the keyboard, so being able to scroll without moving your thumb on the screen is really more comfortable. So turn this on early so that you can start building that muscle memory right away. So here's something a lot of people don't realize. You can remap keys on this phone. And one of the most useful remaps is turning the FN key, this one right here, into a control key. Why does this matter? Well, first, it makes it possible for you to use keyboard shortcuts that start with control, which is a key that is not available on this keyboard. And more importantly, it sets up a workaround for a frustrating bug that you're going to run into if you decide to use Gboard. So for now, to turn that on, you're going to go again into settings, and then you're going to shortcut keys, and you're going to select the FN key. You're going to click on programmable key, and you're going to turn it into a control key. So in my last video, when I did the launcher comparison, I tested Gboard on this device and found that it had a lot of issues. So the biggest one for me was that if you accidentally press Alt while you're typing and then you accidentally hit backspace, it's going to delete the entire line of text, just gone. Now, I was ready to write off Gboard completely, but there was a workaround that I didn't know about, and this is exactly why the previous tip matters. So once you've remapped FN to control, if you accidentally delete a line of text, you can just press FN Z, as in Control Z, to undo. So for example, if I go to keep and want to type in something, let's say, and then I press Alt and then I press back, it deletes the whole thing. Well, I can get that back by just holding down FN Z, and I get my text back. It doesn't fix the bug. The Alt key will still delete your line if you hit it by accident, but at least you can always recover what was deleted. So Gboard is actually livable on this phone as long as you keep that FN Z in your muscle memory. All right, this one is more of an awareness tip than a setting to change, but I wanted to call it out because it genuinely surprised me when I first saw it. If you are on a carrier like Verizon, if you look at your status bar, you might notice an HD indicator next to your signal bars. This means VoLTE is active, which is voice over LTE. I was on Verizon the first couple of days that I had this phone, and that's when I noticed it. Now I'm on T-Mobile, and I don't see it anymore, FYI. Now this one is optional. Most people won't need it, but if you find that the phone is feeling a little sluggish with a lot of apps open, here's something that you can try. So the Titan 2 Elite has a memory extension feature that uses a portion of your storage as virtual RAM, and that gives the system more breathing room. So in order to do that, we're going to go to Settings, Intelligent Assistance, Memory Extension. So you can set it up to use any of these configurations. So find this in your settings, and if you're noticing any performance issues, this is worth enabling. Since we have 256 gigs of storage, at least on the non-Pro model, and expandable microSD support, using a little bit of that space for RAM overhead is a reasonable trade-off. Now, most users are not going to need this again, but it's good to know that it's there. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to need to be very clear. This tip requires enabling developer options, and I want to say this directly. Do not do this unless you are comfortable in developer settings and you know what you're doing, because developer options can affect your system behavior in ways that are difficult to undo if you're not familiar with them. So if you're not sure what you're doing, skip this one. It's optional for a reason. That said, here's what it does and why it matters. The Titan 2 Elite has a near square display, and some apps, Instagram being the most obvious, don't scale properly. So a few of you commented on my last video pointing out that you can fix it by adjusting the DPI settings, and they were right. The non-developer way to fix this is by using mini mode, but if you want to change this permanently, here's what you do. Once you have developer options enabled on the phone, you go to Settings, System, Developer Options, and you're going to search for smallest width. So I'm just going to type it out. Smallest width. The default is going to be set at 573, but I changed it to 601 dp. So here's the important caveat. This change affects all of your apps. Some of your apps will think that you're on a tablet and they're going to switch to a tablet or two-column layout. So for example, here on Instagram, once I apply that fix, now I get full screen, but as you can see, it moved all the icons to the side just as if it was a tablet. The same thing happened to me in other apps like Open Bubbles. It happened on Facebook. It happened on Messages. So make sure that tablet mode is turned off on those individual apps, and that should take care of the problem. And finally, a purely physical tip that has absolutely nothing to do with the settings. So right now you may know that there are no cases available for the Titan 2 Elite, and this phone can feel a little slippery. So my workaround is that I stuck a magnetic ring on the back, as you can see here. It gives you something to grip. It improves the ergonomics. When you're typing one-handed, it's much easier, and it just makes the phone feel more secure. So note that this will not enable wireless charging. That's not something that this phone supports regardless, but it will help you not drop it while you're waiting for proper cases to come out. So once cases are available, this will probably be unnecessary, but for right now, it's a cheap, simple fix that really helps. So that's my list. The first 10 things I do with the Unihertz Titan 2 Elite, plus a bonus tip to hold you over until the accessories catch up. So if I missed anything you think I should cover, let me know in the comments. And if you're still deciding whether this phone is for you, I have a full review coming. So make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.